All right, we are 24 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft, and we're getting to the crunch time here. We're starting to get to the point where teams are finalizing their big boards. We're starting to get to the point where probably some trades outside of a massive trade is probably all done, except for draft night. And we are going to talk about teams in today's video because we pretty much covered all of the positions. And of course, if anything changes in terms of player news, we will address that accordingly in future videos or even at the time of the draft itself. But we want to make sure we cover as many teams as we possibly can. And then for the next couple videos, we can just kind of circle back to some players or positions or even teams themselves if a big move does happen, which we could see. We heard some rumors about maybe the Browns or the Cowboys. Who knows? But before we dive into anything else, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you?
I am very tired. I'm very sore, and but we have business to conduct today.
We do.
And I can see you're wearing a disgusting jersey.
All right, come on.
Green and yellow. Looks
Great.
like vomit.
Great color scheme.
It's all right. It's all right. But why are we wearing this Packers jersey today?
We might be talking about them.
Okay.
And the multiple teams we'll be talking about today.
Yes, we are going to be diving into a ton of teams today. Actually, I need to pull up the big board here from PFF because we were talking about. You mentioned it before we started. What was it? The Raiders?
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell me. I'm gonna get this.
You got this.
Jags, Raiders.
Nope.
Damn. Raiders.
Okay.
Panthers.
There you go.
Okay. Saints.
Yes.
Okay, I knew we were finishing the top 10. Let's see. Come on, Murph. I know we were talking about the Cowboys, obviously. Not the Cowboys. I'm sorry, the Packers. I literally just saw the Packers logo and I was like, Cowboys. That's
Gross.
just the kind of day we're having so far. Murph, who else are we talking about? Seahawks?
No, I can give you a hint.
Nope. No. Broncos.
There you go.
Broncos is one of them, and it's either the Cardinals or the Falcons. It's one of them.
Yes.
It's definitely the Cardinals.
There you go.
Let's go. All right. Where do we want to start? We're not starting with the Packers.
We can start in order. Just
Perfect. All right. Let's start with the Raiders. Genty? I mean, is that just a pick and stick and lock?
It depends on because I saw more rumors on trades that they're trying to get Kenneth Walker with how much the Seahawks are unloading their offense, and I wouldn't hate that.
The Raiders, it's just becoming the Las Vegas Seahawks at this point.
At this point, it's fine in a way, but I mean, most likely it's just rumors. But yeah, at this point, you gotta go Genty. I mean, their backfield consists of absolutely like nobody.
Zamir White.
Yeah, what a fall off. I mean, was he even up? I don't even think so. I mean, he had that a few good games 2 years ago, and then
garbage.
Everyone put their chips in, and he sucked.
Okay, that's a personal attack because that was me.
You did?
I drafted him. I forget what round, but I drafted him. He was like my third running back or flex or something like that. First game of the season, whatever, it happens, and then it's just zeros, 1 point, and I'm just like, I can't do this anymore. But I just think it's kind of obvious for the Raiders to go with Genty at this point for exactly kind of what you're saying. Who's their running back? And Pete Carroll loves himself a great running back, whether it was Marshawn Lynch, Kenneth Walker recently, not Eddie Lacy when he was there in Seattle.
Chris Carson.
I can't think of the other one. Good goodness. He was like a second-round pick.
Rashad Penny.
Thank you. So he likes his big boy running backs. And Genty, he's a big boy. He's very stocky. And, this would be a very boring conversation if we just kept talking about Genty and the Raiders.
I agree.
Because there is a world where maybe he's not there. Or maybe they said, no, we're good on the running back position. What else could we see them doing? Obviously, they brought in Geno, so maybe quarterback's off the table. Maybe they take one. Maybe later in the draft. Maybe they do take one. Maybe they go McMillan. Maybe they go somewhere else. What other moves could we see the Raiders making outside of Ashton Genty?
I think the second position they'd probably go for is corner. I mean, I don't like taking corner at 6. I like Jahdae Barron and Will Johnson a lot. It's just I don't know if I'd take him at 6, but if I saw Jahdae Barron or Will Johnson be taken there, I wouldn't be too shocked. They lost Nate Hobbs. I think that's it. But their cornerback wasn't great. So they definitely need to add to it. Because Nate Hobbs was a great corner over there. I think they have Jack Jones, too.
Yeah, baby.
So
Patriot legend.
I mean, I
Logan
haven't.
Airport King.
From Raider fans, I haven't heard nothing good about him. So I definitely, I think going corner there. I don't think their O line is bad, but I mean, if Campbell's there, why not take a shot?
Let me ask you this. That's a good point. I mean, I feel like there's 10 teams that could be like, hey, Will Campbell's there, take a shot. Because realistically, he could be obviously there from available at the Pats at 4 to 14, anywhere in there, just because of the whole arm size thing. But I like this idea. Let's say McMillan's off the board, Tet McMillan. Could they go at receiver? Could they take the second receiver off the board? Because this is their wide receiver room right now. And obviously, it may be updated, it may not be. But Jacoby Myers is their number one.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got Trey Tucker. I don't know about you. I don't like that.
You know, I like Trey
Trey Tucker's okay.
He's a good receiver 3. He shouldn't be a 2.
Exactly. So, like, obviously, if you're taking a receiver at 6 overall or 7 overall, 6, you want them to be your number 1.
Yeah.
I think Jacoby Myers is a perfect number 2 receiver. So, do they go with, obviously, let's just say McMillan's not there. Do they go and really reach for Ibuka or Burden, Golden for that matter?
I can definitely see it, but I think the perfect situation for the Raiders would be probably taking one in the second round, grabbing a guy like Noel or Jaden Higgins.
Yep.
Because I know you said Jacoby Myers is a perfect 2, but the last few years when he had a quarterback who was actually competent, he had putting up 1,000-yard seasons. So it's like, if they can, I mean, if they added Luther Burden, so assuming McMillan's gone, if they added someone like Burden, Golden, or Buka, I think that'd be perfect.
Are we saying if McMillan's available at 6, it's just a lock? What if McMillan and Genty are there?
I think if McMillan and Genty are there, you take Genty.
Okay.
It's just because you already have Myers and Brock Bowers, and I mean, Trey Tucker is, like I said, good receiver 3, but wasn't too bad at receiver 2. Obviously, it's not who you want, but it could be worse.
Now, obviously, Pete Carroll's he loves his hard-nosed defenses. Could we maybe see them go defensive side of the ball? Obviously, if Genty's available, I think we both think that they go Genty. But let's just say he's not. Or, again, let's just say, for the sake of arguments, they're not even looking at him because they just, whatever, they don't like him. Do they go defense? I know you kind of mentioned cornerback there. Could they go with a guy on the line, an edge rusher? Obviously, if Abdul Carr is available, let's just assume he's not. But obviously, if he is for anybody, you take him.
Yeah,
so let's just kind of assume that he's not available.
Because I already mentioned them possibly going corner. I could see Jalen Walker being a pick here. They lost their best linebacker Robert Spillane to the Patriots.
What about Jahad Campbell? Let's not write him off.
Okay, I mean, Jahad Campbell isn't a bad option, but I'd much prefer Walker just because he can play the linebacker. And let's say you want to put him put him as the edge. You'd have Max Crosby, Christian Wilkins, and Jalen Walker all rushing the quarterback. That quarterback's probably scared.
Maybe. He
should be scared.
I think defense is very, very plausible because now whether people love him or hate him, Geno Smith is a more competent quarterback than they've had in recent memory, and I think he's going to be a guy who can clearly win you a couple games, and he can also lose you a couple games as well. But he can also make do with what he kind of has around him. Now, past couple seasons, he's been kind of spoiled with DK and Lockett and JSN, emerging last year. But here in Vegas, he's going to have Brock Bowers. He'll have Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, maybe a second-round guy. Maybe a move happens. We just don't know. Who knows? But, that defense could definitely use an upgrade because I'm in the camp that the AFC West is going to be, I don't want to say wide open, but it's going to be, I think, more open than years past. Because past 5, 6, 7, 8 years, it's just been the Chiefs, and everyone's kind of picked them to win. But with the moves the Broncos are making, with the moves the Chargers have made, listen, Najee's a good move. Bringing in John Harbaugh last year was a good move.
They had 67 or 60 to 70 million in cap space, and they only signed Najee.
And it's true.
So
they brought back Mike Williams.
Yeah,
that's a huge move.
What a stepping stone.
Exactly. So I do see the West being a little bit more difficult. I do see regression from the Chiefs, especially the offensive line, because getting rid of Tooney, and they haven't really filled the holes. I don't think so. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say Vegas is 2 pieces away or anything, but if they can really revamp the defense and make it really challenging for opposing quarterbacks, you should be able to have faith in a guy like Geno Smith to go out there and win you a 20-17 kind of a game.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like not discounting defense, but especially at this early, it's going to depend who's available, because what happens if a guy like Travis Hunter drops? What happens if a guy like Shedeur Sanders drops? Is there moves to be made? Do they trade out? Do they take the quarterback? I just think taking a quarterback for them, probably the worst thing to do, personally. Anything else we want to talk about the Raiders?
No, I think we covered pretty much everything.
There's
not much to talk about them. They're just hey, we're kind of here, making moves in silence.
So let me ask you this. Okay, what are the chances they move up? Of course.
Move up in the draft?
Move up. Who's available? Sure, but like...
I think it's slim. Like, I think if, like, Travis Hunter falls to... I don't know. I think every team before the Raiders take Travis
Hunter. Let's play some
so
hypotheticals here. Titans are going to stick and pick. Browns stick and pick.
Okay.
It doesn't matter who they take. Well, maybe it does, but let's just say it doesn't matter. Giants are on the clock. Could we see the Giants moving back? I know we've talked about this before.
I think it just depends on who's there. I definitely could see the Giants move back.
Cam Ward is off the table, and Abdul Carter is off the table.
No, I think
they stick.
I think so, just because you can either take the quarterback or take Travis Hunter, who is supposed to be generational.
You're telling me Jameis Winston's not good enough to be the Giants quarterback?
He's not even starter.
That's okay.
He's Russ.
That's more of the reason to not take a quarterback at 3, because you have such a great backup. All right, so Pat's at 4, and I know in some mocks we've had this. Let's say Carter, Abdul Carter, Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, all gone. Pick any order, I don't care. Pats are on the clock. Do the Raiders move up?
I can see it happening. It's just like in prior weeks or I guess months, I did have that scenario where they traded up for Shedeur. But do you want to trade up for Shedeur if you have Geno? When you're in a situation where you could possibly win now, or not win now, like not obviously
competitive now.
Yeah, be competitive if you take someone at Gentry at 6. I mean, I can see the Patriots taking a shot on Gentry. It's slim, but it could happen. The Jaguars have ETN, who's fine. I know a lot of people don't like him anymore, but he had one bad season compared to his last 2 good seasons. So I can't see them taking a running back. So I think the Raiders would most likely not trade up, unless, like I said,
something crazy.
Yeah, something crazy happens. But no, I think they'll most likely stick.
I think it's more of an issue of teams wanting to trade down than teams trade. I mean, if you call up any team in the draft, like, hey, do you want to trade up? They'll probably be like, yeah, of course. Yeah, we'd love to. But what do we have? Who's trading down? I think, if you tell a team, hey, do you want to trade down? They're like, not really. Unless you're like a Falcons or a Cardinals or maybe even a Bengals, who have, thin draft capital, which we'll talk about the Cardinals later. Okay, so let's see. Would they trade back? Genty's off the board. McMillan's off the board. Hunter's off the board. Maybe Shedeur's available, but let's just say they don't want to go in the direction of the quarterback. I know you mentioned a couple defensive players, but if you can trade back a few spots, maybe let the Bears move up or the Niners move up or whatever. I
could definitely see it happening. I think a lot of teams are more in favor of trading down in a way. Like I said, if it just so happens Genty's gone, McMillan's gone, and Hunter's gone.
It's like a doomsday situation for the Raiders, really.
That would be awful.
Anybody but a quarterback, please. Just anybody.
So I can definitely see them trading down. It would just have to be like the weirdest scenario.
I think come draft day, I think I've said this off camera. I'm hoping that we see a move on draft night. Like, let's say the Titans pick. Okay, they take Abdul Carter. All right, the Browns pick. Let's say they go Cam Ward. It's like Giants make a move, or the Pats make a move, or the Jags make like this crazy move that just shreds every mock draft in existence. And some random team, I'm just gonna use the Bengals for instance, move all the way up to 5, and it's like, what are we doing? Like, and it just goes absolutely crazy. And honestly, I think the Raiders are kind of one of those teams to trade out to kind of facilitate that situation, at least in my opinion.
I can definitely see it happening.
Pats, you have to put them on the table. They love trading back. Jags, Raiders. Let me look at the board. Jets, I don't think so. Panthers, maybe. Saints, maybe. Bears, maybe.
I've talked to a few Bear fans recently saying that they wouldn't mind trading down if, like, I think it was Campbell and Genty are gone. Because
is that like their kind of 1-2 that they want?
Yeah,
Genty,
I mean,
Campbell?
Yeah, pretty much. I saw a few say Membu, but they were like, we already have good tackles.
Membu.
So it's like, I've talked to a few Bear fans, and they're like, if Gentry and Campbell are gone, I
It's
kind of
funny
want to
that
trade
they
down.
still want Will Campbell after the moves that they made to address the offensive line. You would have with
Well, a lot
Jonah
of the
Williams and Joe Tooney. You would have thought that they would have
well, the thing is, Joe Tooney's on the oldest. He's like 33, so I mean, like having
guard though. It's
well,
just
he is a guard. It's not like
no. I'm saying it's like for a guard though. Like I mean, you can get by for having a. I mean, look at Zach Martin for instance. You know, he's an
yeah.
older guard.
But I think he's
just
still only on
retired.
like a 1 year deal, so why not draft Campbell, have him develop behind someone like Tooney, and then tell Tooney to.
Or you can just take Tyler Booker in the second round and call it quits.
I guess
Roll
you can do that
Tide.
too.
All right. Crap. Panthers.
Mm-hmm.
Panthers. Okay. Interesting spot for the Panthers because halfway through the season they were probably fighting for the first overall pick. People were calling Bryce Young washed up. They bust. Maybe they were in the quarterback market. Then he comes back and beats the starter, and he's arguably a top 10 quarterback from when he replaces or regains the starting job. So obviously we can cross quarterback off as a need. But as we just kind of mentioned, maybe they're a trade down candidate. I think we both agree they're not a trade up candidate. I just think they're in a too funky of a spot.
I mean, I think they definitely could be.
I mean, well, I guess if you call anybody, hey,
think-
you want to move up? Sure.
I one of the scenarios I saw was like, I think it was Abdul Carter falling to the Patriots,
Whoa.
and the Patriots traded back with the Panthers. The Panthers grabbed Carter, and I was like, I
The
like
live
that.
stream would end because I broke the computer. If Abdul Carter is there, I gotta put my drink down. If Abdul Carter is there at 4 and the Pats trade out, I'm gone. You're gonna do the live stream by yourself for the rest of the night,
that's
and I'm
fine.
done.
I'll call in a replacement.
And you can call him Jake.
Oh.
And I would be so furious because you're literally passing up on a Myles Garrett-esque talent, a Micah Parsons-esque talent. And it's just like, that is exactly what you need. Especially after all the moves you've made, you've addressed pretty much majority of your needs outside of edge. And it's like, hopefully they're not banking on him being there because I'm sure you don't think he'll be there either. No. But it would just blow my mind if they just absolutely be like, you know what? No, we'll take next year first.
I mean, honestly, I think the chance of Carter being at 4 is, in my opinion, going up more and more.
Really?
Because I just think Shedeur and Cam Ward are 1, or Cam Ward and Shedeur are 1 and 2, and I think the Giants are more interested in Travis Hunter than beat Carter because I've been talking to Giants fans, and I mean they want
you
Abdul
are
Carter.
connected, aren't you? Everywhere.
I am.
Wow.
I try and be, and they're like, "Oh, it doesn't hurt to have too many pass rushers." Which I agree with.
Mm-hmm.
I agree, but
Eagles, perfect example of
yeah,
that.
but would you, as a Giants fan, which neither of us are, would you rather with you have Dexter Lawrence on the D line, Kayvon Thibodeau, who hasn't been what he was supposed to be, but still solid, and Brian Burns. Your corner room isn't the greatest. Plus, why not have a receiver like Hunter pair up with Malik Neighbors, or put him in corner with Deontay Banks and Paulson Adebo now? So I mean, like I said, not a Giants fan, but if I was, I'd prefer Hunter. But I guess I like the argument of
Hunter would give you a lot of great buzz around New York because Russell Wilson's going to bring his own media. Jameis Winston's going to be like the class clown. Then you got Malik Neighbors off of a great rookie season. And you got Travis Hunter who plays both ways, who is more of a, I don't want to say media attraction, but he's more of just like kind of like an attraction piece than say Abdul Carter. Again, Micah Parsons is probably one of the best defensive players, if not the best defensive player in football. But how marketable is he in Dallas for the Cowboys? Like, sure, he is, but like, I don't know. I just think Travis Hunter brings a little bit more, sex appeal to the market of New York than a guy like Abdul Carter would. So I kind of do see your point there. And, going back to the whole quarterback thing, which we can much further talk about later, I just don't know if I hope these teams don't reach. But you know what? For the Patriots' sake, I hope they do. And I hope they crash and burn their franchise by reaching on a quarterback.
I mean, I'm starting to like Cam Ward more and more. I still think
like
he's
him in the fourth quarter with about a minute to go.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, okay.
But from what the Titans scouts and coaches that came on and said, they impressed him a lot. He put on a really good pro day with the Titans, which I know it's just a pro day. Zach Wilson looked good. But
that is true.
The fact that the coaches and scouts were like, he did some things that impressed us, and I was like, you see that often, but that just, to me, seems like Cam Ward will be putting on the Titan blue next year.
So, okay, well, let's circle back to the Panthers because that's who this conversation is about. Running back, I just don't think they go running back. Obviously not. Receiver,
I think they can go receiver.
Okay.
I think my perfect fit for the past 2-3 months
It's been Jalen Walker.
has been Jalen Walker.
Yeah.
It's just that defense is atrocious.
Jahad Campbell.
But Jalen Walker can do so much more in the defense. I like Jahad Campbell a lot, and if he was I think he is a top 10 pick.
Jalen Walker?
Both.
Oh.
I think we see two linebackers.
And then not a single linebacker for the rest of the first round. That'd be hilarious. Okay, cornerback. I mean, I know oftentimes we both have like a Jahdae Barron kind of peg there.
Mm-hmm.
I know me early on, I had like Malachi Starks there. So, I mean, defense is definitely, I would say, but do you want to address more of an overall team need, and that being defense, to help wreak havoc in a wide open, because the NFC South is just wide open. We both know that. Or do you want to be like, hey, our young first overall quarterback took a huge step this year, shockingly. Let's give him a Matthew Golden, or let's give him an Emeka Ibuka or Luther Burden to help take that next step even further, because we don't know exactly how much more Thielen can give us. We don't know how much more Xavier Legette's going to kind of grow. Do they go Brock Bowers? I know they have Tommy Tremble, I think, there, but come on.
I mean, I would be concerned.
Not Brock Bowers.
I was going to say.
Whoa.
Tyler Warren.
Oh, why did you say it? I was going to say
Oh,
it.
my
Tyler
bad.
Warren. Okay, hold on. You talk, I drink.
I was just going to, funny enough, I was going to bring that up. I was going to say Tyler Warren has slowly been creeping up as someone I like as for a fit in the Panthers. It's just, I like their overall, how the weapons produced. I liked how Thielen played. I mean, he's just getting older, so he could have a bad season next year.
He's like Tyler Lockett. He's like Bryce Young's Tyler Lockett.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Legette had an okay rookie season, but I think he'll have a good second year. What are they? I think Jalen Coker's his name.
Yep.
Pretty good.
Yeah. He was like a fourth round guy, maybe?
I think so.
He was a little later in the draft.
So I don't think the receivers are awful. So, I mean, if they did go receiver, I like it. But I just think how bad that defense is. You got to get someone like Jalen Walker, Malachi Starks, or just someone like that.
Could they? Of course, right? Let's say they go receiver. Let's say they take Luther Burden at 8, which is not out of the realm of possibilities, which is very plausible. I feel like Luther Burden's an extreme wild card. He could either be a 6 to 15 pick, or he could just as likely be a 15 to 25 pick. I feel like his range is so wide because of obviously the disappointment of this past season he's had, and we've addressed Luther Burden a lot on this channel. But I think Luther Burden is slowly becoming further away from McMillan and being more lumped into the Ibuka and Golden category. I don't know why. I just think I don't know if it's skill set. Maybe I like McMillan too much. Maybe I like Ibuka and Golden too much. And just Luther Burden, I can't find a bucket to put him in.
I definitely think that was on pace, but McMillan kind of came out and said that he doesn't like watching film.
Oh, boy.
So I think I think it was good in a way, and then he said that, and then he was like,
"Show him the DVD. Show him the blank DVD. What's on there?"
You can't. Why? My issue is, why do you say that? You can't say, "Oh, I don't really like to watch film." You have to watch film.
Okay.
I mean, either way, I think McMillan still is probably, the fact that he doesn't watch film and still put up the talent he did, clearly something's working.
College, though, is just like...
It is different.
I don't know. I mean, let's see. What could we see them going offense, say, with that 8th overall pick, and then coming back in and taking into the first round? That'd be a pretty decent jump. That'd be, from 40 to at least 32 or 41 to 32. Taking a Nick Eamon-Worry or taking... I got to try to think of some other guys later in the draft. I know Kenneth Grant we've had kind of sitting towards the end of the draft. We've had Walter Nolan sitting at the end of the draft. Michael Williams, Shamar Stewart, Nick Scorton. Is that something that is realistic and in the best interest for the Panthers, taking assets and capital to trade back into the first round to address both needs, offense and defense, considering how much capital and asset they had to give up to simply get Bryce Young to begin with? Or do you think they just kind of stick and pick?
I think I definitely can see it happening. It's just how hard is it going to be, seeing as you have to make a pretty decent jump to trade back in the first. I think the only team really willing to do it is the Eagles. They don't really have to do much. I mean, I think add a pass rusher because of Brandon Graham being retiring. But they can do that if they can do that at 41.
Yeah, and
be fine. Like someone like Jack Sawyer, who I think would be a perfect plug-in for Brandon Graham. I'm not saying he's on Brandon Graham's level, but plug him in.
It's funny. Jack Sawyer was such a potential late first round pick in a lot of our mock drafts
I
early on.
I wasn't a huge fan of it. I mean, even when I did still do
And
it, it's just he's a high ceiling but very low floor type of player.
he
So
kind of reminds me of a poor man's Aiden Hutchinson, kind of.
well, he fit perfect with Detroit then.
He would. All right, Panthers. Let's see. We talked about them taking a offense, defense, trading back into the first round. What about them sitting at 8 or taking that 8th pick and getting out of there? Doesn't matter who moves up. Say the Cowboys move up because the Raiders passed on Gentry. Maybe the Niners move up because they want to take Jahdae Barron or Gentry themselves. I mean, because that would be an insane wishbone backfield with him and CMC. What's better for the team? To recoup some assets, to fluff up the roster because they need to address multiple areas, or take the best player available and just kind of make it work with that one guy?
I think if you're only trading down with a team like the Cowboys, I think that's their best scenario. But if a team like the Cardinals or someone like the Bengals are calling, I think you just stick and pick.
Yeah, that's too far.
Yeah, no, you're losing out on so many good players, especially Jalen Walker, who I think is their perfect fit. If you're going to miss on him to trade down with a team like Cincinnati, I just don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, right over there?
Yeah.
I mean, they could also, if say Walker or Jahad Campbell are like 1A, 1B, or they don't mind either one, they could trade down and hope that maybe, say, the second of the two is available at like a 14, 15, 16 kind of a spot, and they should be able to get another first-round pick if you're dropping 8 spots in the first round, I would imagine. I think, personally, what they need to do is they need to help Bryce Young. Give him every asset available to help him succeed better. We're seeing what Baker's doing in Tampa with a good offense and a decent defense. We're seeing what why can't I think of it? Not the Saints. What's the other damn team? Carolina, Tampa, New Orleans. I can't think of it. Nope. Talk about the Panthers while I figure this out. Oh, Falcons. Jesus. We see what Penix did, and Kirk for a little bit early on. He wasn't too bad early on, first month or so. But then we saw what Penix was able to do with oh my God, this is so terrible. Kyle Pitts, Bijan Robinson, and who's their damn receiver? Don't tell me. Okay. Who's their damn receiver? Talk about the Panthers while I figure this out. Who's their damn receiver?
Well,
I know they had Darnell Mooney.
I can give you a hint.
Nope. Talk about the Panthers. I'll figure it out.
I think they can very much go any position. I really do. Ted McMillan would be a great fit for them. But I just like the Jalen Walker fit. I mean, if you want to add someone like Jahdae Barron or Will Johnson to pair up with J.C. Horn, that's not too bad. Or Malachi Starks, who can play all over the field. Maybe you put him in the linebacker place instead of taking Jalen Walker, so he can, either play linebacker for you for a little bit, play safety, may even play corner. I think the Panthers can't go wrong at 8. You want to trade down, go right ahead, but I just think 8 is a perfect spot in this draft because you're going to have pretty much everybody, unless Doomsday event happens and Starks is a top 5 pick, McMillan's top 5, Jalen Walker goes to the Jags or something, which I like that a lot, but I can give you a hint.
No, so I keep thinking of Olave, but he's on the Saints, and I keep thinking of an Ohio State receiver, but I know that's not true. I think it's the red that kind of is screwing me up.
I'm gonna give you a hint.
What's the hint?
All right,
this is so bad. Why can't I think of their damn receiver? Who?
He made Take Care.
Drake? Oh, Drake London. Oh, okay, yeah, there we go. Dude, why couldn't I think of him for the longest time? My goodness. Okay, so going back to my point is you got to put, again, they put Penix in a situation with talent, even though he kind of walked into that situation. Baker, he kind of walked into that situation, but they easily could have let Chris Godwin walk. They easily could have let Mike Evans walk, but they decided to keep those kind of guys. So you got to put Bryce Young in that kind of position, or at least put that situation around him. And I do think that having Jalen Colker, an aging Thielen, and then a young promising Leggett is also promising. But who's the check down? Who's the safety blanket in terms of the tight end position? Or who's that explosive receiver? And I think that's kind of why. I mean, I was listening to what you said, and everything you said I agree with. I just think if that guy, whoever that guy is for you on offense, is staring at you outside of the offensive line, I think they take him. Look at the Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs at 12 a couple years ago. I was like, what? You just signed David Montgomery. Why do you need to do that? So it's just like one of those things where it's like, help the young quarterback and figure it out elsewhere. All right, that was so embarrassing. My good. All right, so the Saints are in a very peculiar spot.
Mm-hmm.
Quarterback's on the table. Derek Carr could still be the guy. Joe still likes Spencer Rattler a lot. Oh, he pulled a Spencer Rattler auto out of that box, by
Gross.
the way. Yeah, he was like, oh, this is awesome. Yeah, he's going to be good. I'm like,
Yeah.
sure. I already just kind of listed their offensive players a little bit. Defense, I think, is a really good spot here. They're aging on that defense. I mean, whether it's Tyrann Mathieu, Cam Jordan, and no, he's gone.
No, he's not.
He's not.
He's still sicking.
No, and I can't think of the linebacker's name. David? Nope.
Cut close.
I'm not gonna remember. I'm not doing this again.
Demario Davis.
Thank you. Not even close at all.
No, you said David. Davis.
I guess. Okay, so like defense, they're aging.
Mm-hmm.
They've been exploited plenty of times. Could they be a strong candidate to go Jalen Walker or Jahad Campbell, Malachi Starks, even Jahdae Barron? I mean, I think personally, it's defense all the way.
Funny enough, earlier, a few minutes ago, I said how I think Jalen Walker and Campbell go in the top 10.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I meant. I think Jalen Walker goes to the Panthers. And I think Campbell's a Saint.
Can we just? They could go either way.
I think they could go
1A,
either way.
1B?
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I think they could definitely go either way. I just think the Panthers would probably pick Walker over him. But
They want the lesser linebacker. I get it. That's
yeah,
fine. I get it.
but I think if the Panthers, the Saints take someone like Jahad Campbell, let him learn behind Demario Davis for probably like a year. That's
Yeah.
probably the most that guy has to.
He's like 46 at this point.
Yeah, Cam Jordan's like 50 now, and he's still kicking it.
Jesus.
But I mean, I think defense all the way.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of people for some reason say Genty. I don't get why.
Whoa.
I haven't seen it for a while, and it's like, unless they're trading Kamara.
Didn't you have that in a mock draft for a minute or so? Or
No,
did you
I
mention
think I
that?
brought up the idea of it being in a mock draft, or someone said it.
Yeah.
Because, I know their new head coach is Kellen Moore, so they like the running back. Saquon did last year. Do you really replace Kamara, though, with someone who... I like Genty a lot. We both know this. But who's unproven. I mean, Kamara has proven he can be a really good receiver.
Yeah.
And multiple... receiver, my God. Receiver.
He could be a great dual threat running back.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could be a horse. He could
So
be a split
I think
guy.
Kellen Moore is excited about that. Now, if they want to take a running back in the second or third, like Caleb Johnson or Scatterbo,
Cam Scatterbo.
I think it can definitely happen. But I think you either add to the defense, if he falls, bring in someone like Ted McMillan, because you don't really have any other good receivers other than Chris Olave's corpse at this point.
I was going to say,
And-
concussion protocol guy.
I really can't name another receiver over there.
Do they maybe... I don't think they're going to trade up in the draft. I just
No.
think certain teams they don't scream trade up in the
No.
draft. And the Saints, like the Panthers, I think are two great examples of those. Trading down, obviously, I think is always on the table. But what if they, hear me out, I don't think they would, but hear me out, trade either Olave or Kamara? I think Olave is much more more realistic of a trade
Mhm.
than Kamara. But could we see maybe a player on the move to gain assets
I could
for
definitely,
this year's draft?
Yeah, I could definitely see it happening. I mean, the team needs to get younger. I mean, they're in cap hell consistently.
Always.
They somehow get out of it, but you pushing it back consistently just to keep making your team worse.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing as though they keep picking early and earlier every year in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Olave has to get paid soon, so I think it's more likely he gets moved to a team like maybe the Patriots, maybe a team. I wasn't say the Panthers, but division rivals. I can't see it happening. Maybe a team like Dallas or San Francisco, like just teams who need a receiver.
Mm-hmm. Who need like a I would say like a number 2 because
Yeah.
you just can't trust Olave to be your number. He has all the talent in the world to be the number 1, but it's just the injury history. It's
Yeah.
just brutal, and he's one hit away from probably being done.
Like people talk about Tua all the time with his head, but Chris Olave, I'm
He's
pretty
right
sure,
up there.
I think Chris Olave has had more concussions than Tua at this point,
That's
and it's
crazy.
like, I don't know if the Saints are gonna want to pay him.
I think the Saints are kind of in maybe the Panthers as well. They're just in a really bad spot because they're not early enough in the draft to get a Carter who falls or Hunter who falls,
Mm-hmm.
but they're also not late enough because they were that good. So they're kind of like in mediocre hell.
I think I can see about with the Saints and the kind of the Panthers, but I've said over and over how I love the Panthers pick because for the most part, especially if you're going defensive, there's gonna be a lot of guys there.
Yeah,
like I think Starks is gonna be there. I think Jalen Walker and Campbell are gonna be there.
Nicky Manwari would be there too.
He would be, but would you take Nicky Manwari at 8?
No, I would not.
No, you wouldn't.
I know you would.
I wouldn't even do that.
Really?
I think I like him, but I wouldn't take him.
You'd take him at 9 though.
Oh, 100%. But a lot of the defensive guys, like both the Panthers and Saints, like I think will be there. Obviously not Hunter or Carter. I mean, unless something is found out about Abdul Carter, like his injury is a lot worse than we think.
Maybe he doesn't like watching film.
Maybe he doesn't like playing at all.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, it's so weird because I think the Panthers and the Saints, I kind of put them in the same boat, but you like the Panthers spot a lot better. And I do see that, the defensive options are way better. And I do think both the Saints and the Panthers could go, well, the Saints at least should defense, whereas I think the Panthers should go offense. But if, they said they're fine on offense and they want to go defense, they're in a great spot. But a team like the Bears, not to get into the Bears because we won't, but for some reason, I don't feel like that they're in a bad spot because they've made the moves already and they're still strong contenders just to go from 10 to 6 or 7, or they can go from 10 to 14 and drop either way.
Yeah. Because
their team is already good. They've improved the head coach significantly. They've made the team a lot better through free agency and through trades. So it's like, I don't feel like that the Bears are in like mediocre hell as I do with the Saints, even though they're just one pick away. And I think that's bizarre because when we sit and look at the Bears, oh yeah, they could trade up to 6, they could trade up to 7, but I don't feel that with the Saints, even though the Saints one pick higher are theoretically in a better position to move up, which is kind of, I feel bad for the Saints, I really do.
I don't.
Why not?
They have put themselves in this situation. They should have started the rebuild like 2-3 years ago. They should have not traded, or was it trade or signed Derek Carr? You should have. I think it was a sign and trade.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah, whatever.
But they should have started the rebuild process years ago instead of, restructuring all the contracts and pushing it back. It's like kicking the can. You guys have picked higher and higher every single year, I'm pretty sure. You guys are clearly getting worse. Unless you're hoping we pick number 1 next year. And
Archie, baby.
Or bring the Manning back to New Orleans.
I think the Saints have had the mindset whereas like the NFC South, like I said a little earlier, is so wide open where it's like, hey, we can get by going 9-8. Derek Carr is the 9-8 king or 8-8 king. So it's like, hey, we bring a guy like him in, he can help us get by, and then hey, anything can happen in the playoffs, kind of a thing. But I think they didn't think that the Bucs would transition from Brady to Baker so good, or the Panthers would be somewhat relevant, at least in the second half this past season, or the Falcons being as good as they were, whether it was with Penix or Cousins. Who was the damn quarterback before? I know they had like Desmond Ritter. Who was the quarterback? Who was like the main quarterback before that?
It was Ritter.
Was it just Ritter?
Yeah.
Interesting.
They thought he was going to be something, and
I kind of believe that. I thought him going in the 4th round, he could sit behind, because he sat behind somebody. I thought.
Matt Ryan? Was it Matt Ryan?
No, I think he was gone by then.
When
I'm not playing this game again, but either way, they thought that the division was open. They can kick the can down the road. Hey, maybe we can squeeze out a deep playoff run. Kicking the can down the road, man, it just buries teams. I mean, the Chiefs just freed up like $50 million in cap space for this year by restructuring. Was it Chris Jones and Mahomes' contract? It's like you're gonna have to pay it eventually, whether you want to admit it or not. But it's gonna have to get paid. All right, Cardinals. I like the Cardinals conversation, not for the reasons you think, because of how simplistic it is. I just got to try to find Arizona. I can't find Arizona. Here they are. I think, like the Falcons before them, they're a trade back candidate.
Yeah.
If that perfect guy is there, I think Ibuka is a perfect candidate. I think maybe Tyler Booker at guard is a candidate, or maybe somebody on the offensive line. I just think they need the capital because they're in mediocre hell. I feel like the West will be a little bit more open, I think, than in years past. But Kyler Murray alone clearly can't do it. Marvin Harrison had an underwhelming rookie season. He's expected to take a jump. But you still need more than just those two guys, or a decent quarterback and a hopeful receiver. So trade back, get into the 20s, get some more picks, and just kind of rebuild kind of on the fly because Kyler's still young enough.
Yeah.
And you have a stud young receiver, and just kind of go from there with it. I think for me at least, that's how simple the Cardinals are.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I don't hate the idea of trading back. It's just there. What do you add at that point? Because it's like, do they try and get another first round pick out of it? Which I mean, obviously not this year. You can't have two,
Mm-hmm.
but like next year, or do you just try and gain as much capital to try and pick in the later rounds? Because you think they're in mediocre hell. I think the Cardinals aren't too far away from being a contender. Because they showed it last year where they had a good start. I like the coach. I know he was a weirdo when they first hired
He's
him.
not as weird as this guy.
Who's this guy?
Duval.
Oh my god.
He's not as weird as that guy.
I guess.
Could be a lot worse.
But Kyler is fine. They just lost. I think there's a receiver 2 and maybe 3. So Marv is kind of just running out there all by himself.
Mecca Ibuka, baby.
They can draft someone like Ibuka, Golden, or even Burden.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe McMillan if he has a huge fall, which I've been seeing a lot of people say could happen.
I mean, teams want dedicated players.
Mhm.
And if you're not going to be dedicated, why bother? Because we'll find someone who is and we'll coach them up. I think that's kind of like their mindset.
But I think they also go defense. Like the D-line needs help. Someone like Kenneth Grant would be great, or even Walter Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of need linebacker. So let's say, I don't think it'll happen, but Jahad Campbell falls
Jalen
to
Walker.
16. He's not, he'll not be falling. I saw someone had him fall to like 28. And I was like, ew.
I mean,
Yeah.
what's his ADP? I know his ADP is like still like in the 20s, I thought I saw. Because Jahad Campbell's, as of now, is 16.3, but he's the 10th ranked prospect. And Jalen Walker's ADP is 21.6, and
That's
he's the
weird.
28th ranked prospect.
That's weird.
That's crazy.
But no, yeah. So I think they are a defense first in this draft. It's just their defense was not great. I think they can add someone like Jahdae Barron into that cornerback room, or Kenneth Grant onto the D line. It's just I think they can go anywhere and they're fine. I don't think they're too far off from being a contender, especially the Niners are going to get worse.
A lot worse, yeah.
Players don't want to play for them anymore after the Dre Greenlaw situation came out.
Yeah, I heard about that. That's crazy.
That's weird. They came to his house, was like, "We'll give you more." He's like, "Nah."
Yeah, and it's just, I mean, I feel like you have a period, teams who currently have the player have a window to exclusively negotiate. And in that window, you should put all your chips into the middle and be like, hey, we want you. Not the fact that like, oh, we can't do anything else. We can't replace you. All right, hey, now we want you.
Yeah.
I don't blame him for saying no. I'm sure it was a tough decision at the end of the day to be like, I no, because it's too late, especially when there's more money on the table.
Mm-hmm.
But hey, the Broncos are building something, and credit to them for getting, seeking a player that they desired and that they wanted and they got. But also credit to Dre Greenlaw for kind of holding true to his word and saying, hey, I'll sign with the Broncos, even though the Niners brought him more money. But no, I think the Niners are going to fall off drastically.
Yeah.
Trading, and not to get into the whole Niners conversation, but trading Debo, having Ayuk still on the trading block, CMC's injury history, Dre Greenlaw, Hufanga's gone.
You have to pay Purdy.
They gotta pay Purdy. Who do you pay Purdy? At this point, do you pay Brock Purdy? I mean, I think we're gonna see, his true colors, what kind of quarterback he is with less and less weapons around him. But I mean, maybe
the Seahawks could be okay.
Yeah.
Depending on Darnold. The Rams, I think the Rams are gonna be fine.
I think the Rams will be the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, you lose Cooper Kupp, but you bring in Devontae. So I mean,
I feel like that's just washing your hands, really.
I think
two great receivers or two really good receivers considering age, but like they're two different play styles. But I mean, I guess
I'd say they're pretty similar in play style. I mean, they are. Hey, if I need to go deep, I guess.
I just like Kupp like underneath and in the slot a little bit better because I like Devontae as like the end zone, red zone threat.
I think they're pretty much like a very similar play style, especially with how good both of them. They're both really good route runners.
Yeah.
So I think literally you're just you lose Cooper Kupp. Well, we're pretty much getting Cooper Kupp back.
Yeah.
With the different, it's obviously not completely the same, but
I feel like it's also like the Seahawks kind of getting rid of DK but bringing in Cooper Kupp. It's just like, all right, let's get rid of one player, but let's just stay relevant and still try and bring in another guy, even though those two are two completely guys, but they're not totally like folding it. It's just I don't know if you're gonna bring back Stafford after talking about getting rid of him, and you didn't bring back Kupp, but you brought in Devontae Adams. Again, they're both over 30, similar but different. Hey, listen, whatever. At the end of the day, so I think there's gonna be some chemistry problems there. Yeah. Obviously, it's gonna take a little bit to get going.
So that's why I think the Cardinals aren't just too far off from not being division winners, but contenders. Like,
do they win 8 games?
Depending on what they add in the draft, I think they can win 10.
Wow.
It's just like I said, they started off so hot and
Chat,
then
mark it down. 10 games for the Cardinals.
they started off so hot and then crumbled. But I think the reason they crumbled is their defense was bad.
Do you think 10 games wins them the division?
I think so. I think the Rams are like a 10-win team.
Yeah.
The Niners, we're saying all this about the Niners. They have such an easy schedule next year.
They might
can,
just rip out 12 wins.
They can rip off 12, 13 wins, and that's fine.
And be in the NFC title game for all we know.
Because I looked at their schedule, and it's a cakewalk of a schedule. So they could very easily just...
Well, they got 6 games against teams who have a lot to prove or a lot of changes that have happened.
Worst case, they lose, get swept by the division. That's still 11 games they can easily just win. So I definitely think if they get 10 wins, it could win in the division.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just... You have such a good division, in my opinion. I mean, it's not like a NFC North-esque division where you have 2 teams winning almost 13 games.
We'll get to the Packers in a second.
I wasn't even gonna mention that.
Perfect.
That's fine.
Even better. Okay, so Cardinals, really interesting spot. I don't see them trading up at all just because they only have 6 picks. They go from 16 to 47. I mean, that's, again, first to second round, but that still seems like a huge gap. And there's really not much you can do with that. Could I see them trading back? Sure. But here's a team that I think we both think could go either way, and that's the Denver Broncos. They've made tons of moves already. Mm-hmm. They seem like a brand new team, and not to bring this up, but I'm going to anyways. Okay. This is exactly what I wish the Patriots did with Mac Jones. Is you have a good, young, successful rookie season with a young quarterback, like the Broncos did with Bo Nix. Hey, we made the playoffs, though we lost, but we made the playoffs. Let's add in a nice tight end for him, a nice big target. Let's beef up the defense for him. Let's make these moves to help him. And the Pats didn't do that, but that's not a conversation about that. But the Broncos, all the power to them. They are making themselves legitimate AFC West contenders. Mm-hmm. Sean Payton settled in after the Russell Wilson experiment. Bo Nix, last quarterback picked out of that group of the first 6 in the first round. He arguably looks like one of the best out of the bunch. Jaden Daniels probably better, but still he's in that mix. Offense, they could probably use a receiver, I would say, but that offense is still promising. And the defense overnight looks completely different with Surtain, Greenlaw, Hufanga. So what do they do?
I think the perfect scenario, and I think the guaranteed scenario, not even with the first round pick, but both the first and I'm pretty sure they still have a second round pick.
I am looking into that right now. They have 1, 2, 3, 4. Arizona's 5th.
I think you go either running back or receiver.
Arizona's 6th, sorry.
Sorry. You're good. Running back or receiver with the first round pick, and then running back or receiver with the second round. You draft someone like, I don't think Genty's going to be there. Like, get Amari Hampton at 20.
So you don't like Trey Benson or James Conner?
Who are we talking about?
Oh, we're talking about the Broncos. Oh my God. Wow. Okay, hold on. Stand by. Yeah, no, they need a running back.
I was like, wait a minute. I don't.
I saw Arizona's pick, and I just kind of cut you off and like, oh no, it's the 6th round pick. And I'm just thinking, you're talking about running back.
I was like, did the trade happen overnight?
I like the receiver aspect with Marv. Wow. Okay, hold on. You talk, I drink.
No, I definitely think get someone like unless Genty's there, take him. I don't think he's going to be. But Amari Hampton, he looks really good. He had a great combine. You take him. Yeah, I mean, Javonte Williams was a UNC running back and didn't really pan out well.
Scars, baby, scars.
It's just it wasn't the same after the injury. But completely different player. You get him, and then I keep bringing up his name because he's not my favorite in the draft. But when it comes to out of the main ones, he is. But Jaden Higgins, pair him with Cortland Sutton, and
that'd be a great second round target right there.
That
would be ideal.
Amari Hampton, Jaden Higgins, and then you'll have. You'll have Cortland Sutton. You'll have who's the other receiver over there?
They have Troy Franklin, who
had a
promising year.
He had a pretty solid year. So I think. Because I was big on who they could take Loveland or if Warren falls, but you have Evan Ingram, who was really good in Jacksonville and pretty solid in New York. I think the Broncos could win the division.
I do too. I mean, I think we're both fans. We liked what the Broncos did last year. We like what they're doing so far in free agency. They haven't made a big splashing trade yet. Maybe that's on the table. Maybe that's with the 20th pick, moving up, moving down. I see them going both ways. I think this will really prove to the whole league, to us, to fans, collectors for that matter, we're serious about this year and we're going to go at the Chiefs is if they take that 20th pick and trade up into early teens to draft, I don't know, just say Luther Burden or whoever they think is available. Maybe Genty drops to like 10, 11. They're like, no, we got to get him.
Yeah.
And that'd be like, all right, wow. That's a home run move right there. That shows that you are legit and serious. What is it going to take? Who knows? Who cares? Doesn't matter. We don't get paid to do that. But I like the idea of what they've already done and addressed. So now they don't have to address linebacker. They don't have to address safety. They can take that 20th pick and whatever's there. If they don't like anything there in terms of value at 20, trade back, get more assets, and take an Omarion Hampton at like 24, 25. Because I personally think it'll be a 2 running back first round. Genty, obviously, and maybe an Omarion Hampton. Or they could move back and take another receiver. Maybe Golden does fall. Maybe Ibuka does fall. And then you can take the further assets and get yourself that running back later on. Or you can, however you want to do it, doesn't matter. But I just think they're in a sneaky good spot. Because if you take the roster that they currently have and have them play in that Bills wildcard game, I think this team now could maybe win against the Bills team. If you play out of 10 times, they might win like 4 out of 10 times. Mm-hmm. So they're already in a great spot. It's just, again, continue helping your young quarterback. And with the addressing that they've done on defense, I see them going offense heavy with this 20th overall pick. Yeah. Whether they trade up or trade down, I feel like they're going to go offense heavy. Man, the Broncos are exciting to talk about. They're like one of the most exciting teams to talk about, I think.
I think just exciting in general. I'm excited. Weird to say it because it hasn't been this way since 2015, but I'm excited to watch the Broncos.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like the Broncos are in a spot where it's like if they stink, it's a little shocking. But if they're good, no one would be surprised.
Yeah.
Because of what they're building there. Let me ask you this. Take Bo Nix out, put Russell Wilson in. Do they still make it to the wild card game last year?
I don't think so.
Really?
I mean, Russ
was okay though when he played.
Russ was good. No, not good, but he was okay. Mm-hmm. It's just Sean Payton didn't like him.
That was a weird mix.
Yeah, I didn't like.
In theory, it sounded great and sounded like it would work.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive mind, good quarterback, still a lot to prove probably. You put him in, mile high, you could probably throw the ball 80 yards because it's so thin up there. But just for whatever reason, like Urban Meyer and Trevor Lawrence, I thought that was a great match, to be honest.
And then Urban Meyer was just...
It just didn't work out. I mean, he's at the clubs, he's kicking kickers. It made no sense. So it was a disaster. But no, I think a home run pick for the Broncos would be like Ibuka. I think that would be a perfect pick. Yeah. Or Golden, either one. I'm assuming Burden's not available, but Ibuka or Golden I think would be a perfect fit. All right. Green Bay Packers. Got the jersey on. You said you got a shirt underneath it.
I do too. I do.
I'm going to turn my mic off and I will let you proceed.
Where do we begin? I think this is a perfect year for a lot. Last year was a doozy. It wasn't fun. It was fun. Made the playoffs. I wouldn't say skunked in the first round, but lost to a team like Philadelphia. But I mean, it's fine. We lost to the Eagles. They won the Super Bowl. I was happy with it. We can go. The draft's coming up. It's finally in Lambeau Field. I was thinking about going. All those tickets are, expensive, very expensive. But we could go so many different ways. This is the first year in a while where we can go offensive line, and I'll be like, that's fine.
Big beef.
No, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, I wouldn't hate it.
All right, sorry, carry on.
But you can add someone because we added Aaron Banks from San Fran, who yes, Packer fans did say we overpaid, and I definitely agree. But that doesn't mean he's a bad lineman. We can plug him in. We have genuinely probably one of the most underrated O-lines. I think if everyone stays healthy, top 5 unit in the league. You have Aaron Banks. You have Jordan Morgan, who when he did play looked good. Elton Jenkins is going to move to center. He played really well at center. Zach Tom is very underrated at the tackle spot. If they can all stay healthy, give Jordan Love that time, the Packers are Jordan Love's going to be fine. Last year it was a struggle because, was never fully healthy. Injured both hamstrings very early on. That is, not something you really want to do. So he's going to come back fully healthy. Honestly, you don't want to, if you notice how good your O-line is, you don't want to add someone who, like Kelvin Banks could be there. I would love Kelvin Banks, but I don't know if he'll be there. Finally draft a receiver. I want Matthew Golden so bad, and the only reason is because of his hands. It's like Jaden Reed, really good, but yeah, he had drop issues. We also just don't use him. It's really weird. We'll give him one big play in the first like half, and then LaFleur's like, all right, you have the other else. Dontavian Wicks was really good his rookie season. People were comparing him to Devontae Adams, and then he just forgot how to drop. He had the best win rate in route running, and then just was like, I don't want to catch. That's fine. Christian Watson, good, injured all the time. Romeo Dubs, good, had an issue with his mentality, saying I want the ball more, and then we threw you the ball more, and it was like, dude, you didn't really do much. And he's still good. I still like Dobbs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have our other receivers who don't get as much time, like Malik Heath, who's really good. Just he's a sixth stringer, so you're not gonna get the time. Bo Melton, really good, but more of a receiver 3 or 4. Tucker Kraft, in my opinion, a top 6 to 5 tight end. We saw it this year.
Wow.
We saw him play. Luke Musgrave can still be good, just hurt.
Yeah.
And then the defense was great. Jair didn't really play much because he was hurt. Still was good. Xavier.
But you're still the guy. You're the one that wants Jair traded, though.
Not as much anymore. Because I saw things saying that we might release him if we can't get a trade partner, and it's like, no. Why are you gonna release? Don't get me wrong. Is he hurt often? Yeah, but that's still Jair Alexander. You don't release him. But you sign Nate Hobbs, who could be great in this system, especially if you add a third cornerback. Xavier McKinney, don't gotta say much.
Roll Tide, baby.
Was a fantastic piece. Evan Williams, Javon Bullard, also great safeties. The D line was was not fun to watch. I mean, Rashawn Gary paid him all the money and he hasn't been showing up. Devontae Wyatt is fine. He's not special, but he'll get the job done. Someone like Kingsley Enagbari, great D tackle, or not great, good D tackle, great for our system at least. Put a lot of pressure. And then our linebackers, Quay Walker, he's still having those, he could be good this season, even though we're in like year 5. Adrian Cooper was a home run pick. I mean, best linebacker in the draft class. Mm-hmm. And I don't know how I talked about offense and didn't mention Josh Jacobs. I mean, he was our best player this year.
Absolutely.
I think on paper, Jordan Love, it probably still is the best. It's just when you're hurt, both hamstrings are killing you the whole season. It's hard to play really good.
That is your 2025 Green Bay Packers analysis right there. You will not get any more comprehensive analysis of the Packers as it stands on March 31st, at least. I don't have to say anything about what players you should take or the roster construction. You nailed that all the way, but I will ask these questions here.
Good.
Trade down.
Depends. I'm very against trading down, especially with.
You sound like me. I'm like, but the Pats, I do not trade down.
We do it all the time, and the issue is we hate our GM so much, and it's for a good reason. This dude likes the developmental guys. Like when was it 2 years ago in JSN's draft class, fell right into our hands. I was so excited. I'm like, there we go, receiver 1, and then we took Lucas Van Ness, and it's like, oh.
I do remember that. Yeah.
I was with my friends, and I haven't talked to them in years, but they had a video of me, and I'm just like standing there, depressed. Like, what is this? Like,
so trade downs off the table.
Well, for me, yeah.
For you, yeah, okay.
Most likely for our GM, he already's picking up 5 phone calls right now.
What about trading up? Obviously,
yeah.
But
yeah, obviously, yeah.
How much are you willing to stretch the future for? Whoever?
I think I'm willing to stretch the future because I think the Packers can be a win now team. They
are the 4th best team in the division.
That's wild.
Just to let you know.
That's insane. But you look in the playoffs. 3rd. I mean, if the team's healthy, we were really close with the team that blew out the Kansas City Chiefs. We lost. Lost them by I think it was 8-9 points, which is a good amount. But when you're in Philadelphia as a 7th seed, with a team who is hurt and can't catch a cold in December, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, I agree.
I think we can compete with a lot of the teams. Minnesota, we competed with Detroit all year. Yeah, they ended up squeaking out the win in the end. Props to them, but we kept it close with Detroit. We kept it close with Minnesota. The Bears are the Bears. They always will be.
They're gonna win 5 games after all this excitement.
Yeah, most likely. They do it every year.
I think the Packers are in a very interesting spot. I don't want to say similar to the Broncos because the Broncos have actually gone out and made some moves.
Yeah.
Comparative to the Packers,
yeah.
But they are a couple moves away. It's just, I think the big difference is, I mean, the AFC West is very competitive, but so
Mhm.
is the NFC North. It might be arguably the most competitive
I
division.
think so. I mean, like I said earlier, the Lions had 15 wins. And I know all three teams ended up shit in the bed in the playoffs, but Lions had 15 wins, looked like the best team in the league.
Mm-hmm.
Minnesota had 13 wins, looked like arguably one of the better teams. The Packers, yeah, were hurt, but the fact that they still got 10 wins out of that season was still very impressive. The Bears, I don't like them, but all the moves they made,
They will improve.
I think
Yeah.
they'll be pretty solid next year.
Yeah.
So I think the NFC North is definitely the toughest division. I mean, I guess you could say a team like the AFC, a division like the AFC North, I guess, but they don't really play football.
That's always a
They kind of,
crapshoot, though, with those AFC North teams. They just
yeah,
beat each other up.
yeah, they don't really play football. I guess they play football in the second, I guess they'll
They play
try.
stomp the yard.
Yeah,
That's what
but
they
they'll
do.
fight each other more.
Yeah.
So I definitely think our division will be hard. I don't expect us to win it, like I said, unless JJ McCarthy ends up not being great in his first year. The
Mhm.
Lions, some like injuries happen with Detroit.
Creating fluky things, kind of.
Yeah, so is it possible? I mean, yeah, it definitely is. But I think I think we're definitely contenders, not competitors, but I think we are in the contenders tab because Josh Jacobs in his first year looked great. I think the first game was,
Okay.
but I mean that whole season was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
If we can just add someone like Matthew Golden who can actually catch a football, I think we could be a top 5 team in the league.
I can catch a football.
Do
How
you
would
wanna
how would
go-
I help?
Hey, just go out there, run some routes. As long as you're catching the football, that's
Yeah.
all we need at this point.
Yeah, and I think the Packers are in a very interesting spot because they were right there. They had adversity and they were able to overcome a lot of it. Specifically injury related, bringing in some new guys last year, McKinney and Jacobs, and them kind of molding into just Packers overnight play. Like there wasn't a lot of like a delay in kind of finding chemistry or a groove or anything. And I think the Packers, depending on what they do with this 23rd pick in the draft, is going to be very, very intriguing because they could go both ways. Someone could be sitting there, I mean, at 17, or maybe even the Falcons, who I've always pegged as a trade down. You'd probably have to trade 2 firsts and a second to move all the way up. But hey, if Burden's there available, and why not, right? I mean, it would possibly make some sense. So I think the Packers, like a lot of teams, are in a hey, if it makes sense, we'll trade up. If it makes sense, we'll trade down.
Mm-hmm.
But we're a piece or two away without having unfortunate circumstances kind of hinder us.
Yeah.
And I think that's, I don't want to say a lot of teams, but that is, some teams. And I think the Packers are one of them. And I think, again, depending on what they do, they could be right there in the mix despite the challenge of the division because you're going to play the whole division 6 times. If you can split, that's probably a win.
Mm-hmm.
And just hope that you can beat up on the rest of your schedule. Crazy. I mean, that is your Packers analysis right there.
That is.
I got nothing else for you for the Packers. But that was 6 teams. Whoa. That was 6 teams that we talked about as we prepare for the 2025 NFL Draft. Any last comments, remarks about anything, anybody, or just in regard to anything that we maybe missed or that you kind of just want to touch upon real quick before we wrap this up?
It's a common occurrence every single time we do this, but we cover a lot.
I know.
Especially now with 6 teams. It's
I
like, what?
know.
I mean, we even talked about other teams. Like, we talked about the Patriots a little bit. We talked about the Giants.
We kind of spewed in some other teams
Yeah,
and players
this
and
is
such
like a
into
10-team
the mix.
type of thing.
Yeah.
So I think we cover a lot. Yeah, we can cover a team like the Texans or something, or all the teams later in the draft.
They could trade out of the first round. Any of those teams in probably from the Packers on could trade out of the first round.
Yeah.
And it just the conversation was pointless. But then again, you have a Texans maybe trade up to 21 or whatever, and they're like, hey, let's draft Matthew Golden or whoever.
Or even like Kelvin Banks.
Yeah. So, I mean, no, we definitely did talk about a lot. I mean, the draft, guys, is 24 days away, 3+ weeks away. It's coming up. And honestly, everything we're talking about now could absolutely transpire on draft night. McMillan to the Pats, 2 quarterbacks in the top 3, Hunter there. Or it could be absolutely pointless and a surprising pick is taken, a surprising trade happens. Players drop, players rise all the time. But yeah, I got nothing else in regards to this video. We talked about a ton of stuff, which is awesome. So when we circle back next week, we'll be diving more into maybe kind of circling back to some players, some top players like a Cam Ward, revisit him, revisit Shadur, revisit some of the top players that we expect to see in the top 10 at the very least. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you guys so much for watching this video. It was absolute blast to just hammer out a bunch of teams, talk about the draft. And sorry for the absence. Hopefully we made it up to you with a killer episode today. But that will wrap it up. Please make sure you smash the thumbs up button, comment down below, and subscribe to the channel. Check out the channel membership program. Again, comment any thoughts you have down below. Any teams, any players you want us to discuss in a future video. Again, we only have a handful before the live stream coming up, but we will address some things before the draft starts itself. But I will queue up the next video over Hector's face right there because I like covering him up with the next video. But I will see you in that video. But between now and then, hopefully you guys have a great day. I'll see you in that one. Peace out, guys.
Bye.